Hey, everybody, Cinema Night Podcast live, ready to rock. Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom, just the three of us. We're doing Jacob's Ladder. Does it hold up or not? I don't know. We'll find out. That's why we do the show. Thanks for coming by. Make sure you subscribe, follow, connect. 5-star rating, Apple Podcasts. Email the show, cinema9pod@protonmail.com. Travis Roy, we actually got together last Friday to watch a movie together. How about it?
We did. You and I watched a film together along with our good friend Christian. So that was fun. Watched a movie with human people.
Yeah, I hadn't done that in a long, long time. It was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And I got my booster, so I feel like I could be around humans again. So that's cool.
Yay!
Yay! It makes me happy.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's
Whatever
been a fun week.
happy.
It's been a fun week.
Floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat.
My boat is floating.
He's got a boat float.
It's a floaty boat, y'all.
Boat floats.
Eric, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Ever since I went and managed my subscriptions to all these streaming services, and I canceled like 12 of them. I don't know how much money. I must have been paying like $500 a month. It's so many that I do trials for, and I forget, like Epics.
I'm paying $7 a month for CBS something or other. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? All access? Yeah. I'm like, oh, I didn't need to do that.
What are you guys doing? Come on, guys. Don't fall prey to these schemes. Yeah, I don't pay. What is the streaming service I actually pay for? I'm trying to think. I'm not even kidding. I can't think of a single streaming service that I pay for. I'm really thinking about it. Netflix,
for HBO Max, and I'm happy to pay for HBO Max. There's plenty on there.
You do have HBO Max. That's how we watched the movie we'll talk about shortly. And but I use it. I got. This is what friends are for, right?
That's what friends are for.
What do you mean it's not right? Fuck
film piracy.
This is no. This is not film piracy. This is login access. Login access is part of the.
Then take their password. Come on.
They're rich people. They're fine. If they were poor, I'd feel bad for them. But fuck it. Who cares? And if they're not complaining, they gave me the information. It's not like I held them hostage and said, "Give me your fucking login."
I mean, I have a pretty nice situation in that, and me and my ex from a few exes back, I get access to her Netflix, and I think she stole my car. I'm not really sure what happened there. Just kind of lost a car somehow in her possession. So I think that's why I just still, I guess maybe Netflix for life. I don't know. I'm going to write it out.
Not even.
For the record,
no, not
there's
even.
There's more information there though. Travis he didn't have a license for a while, and he wasn't really driving for years. So that makes more sense. Hey, Archie's. But yeah, I don't even watch Netflix. I think I have Luke's. Like Luke gave me his 6 years ago, and I never even watch it. I never even log into Netflix ever.
Yeah.
I am never.
Hulu.
I feel like I'm way out of loop because I'm the guy who's never on Netflix.
Huh.
I mean, Hulu. I feel like Netflix doesn't have a ton to offer lately. They've been a little dry. I watch stuff on there every now and then. But
the Midnight Mass, isn't that Netflix?
Midnight Mass was fantastic, and that was very much on Netflix and worth every one of my ex's pennies.
But yeah, let's see. Disney Plus, I don't have that.
Yeah,
Hulu, I don't have that.
I got these things. I don't mind having Disney Plus. I just watched What If season finale, or I'm halfway through it anyway, which makes me happy.
Oh yeah, I watched one episode of What If at your place.
You did?
I've never seen the show, so I actually didn't think it was that funny. I'm sorry, I didn't want to ruin it for you.
That's all right. I could tell.
That's what happens when you watch things together with people in real time. You can get the real reactions, and the truth. So, it's a pretty cool feeling because I haven't done that in years. But we'll talk more about that.
I haven't watched a movie with people here. Did you watch movies with your girlfriend when you guys go to Canada, or when you go to Canada?
We did do that. But that had been years. So sort of. And even I think that, you're right. Okay. Anyways, we're going to talk about quarantine viewing picks now. Yeah, and it counts. We're going to share what we've been watching, what we'd like to recommend. I'd like to first just do a joint one off the top here because I'd like to talk about the Saints of Newark.
Oh. The many Saints of Newark? You watched it too, didn't you, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we got
spoilers, by the way. It is early, so if you want to skip ahead now. Spoilers on Many Saints of Newark in 3, 2, 1.
So Mike and I are big Sopranos fans, as our friend Christian. So we were pretty excited to sit down and watch it. We all had kind of mixed feelings afterwards, or we weren't enthralled, but we weren't in love with it either. And I think that my real takeaway from all this is that I like the Sopranos TV show, and I like being around my friends. So those things kind of clouded my judgment in the moment because of this movie was not that great.
Oh,
yep.
Lots.
What do you think?
I agree.
Go ahead, Eric. Well, you liked it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I thought it was actually. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was
please
kind
do.
of bad. I thought it was kind of bad. I paused
Yes.
it like 50 minutes in, and I'm like, okay, we're 50 minutes in. What has happened so far in this movie? Like nothing. Like two gangster cliches, and then so many more gangster cliches followed. Episodic plot, great acting, but I don't understand why this is a movie. It's 13 years too late. You could have done this same movie, and if it would have came out in 2009, it would have been like, oh, fuck yeah. But it's just too little too late. Disposable. Should have been a limited series. Give me 9 or 10 parts, especially if you're going to do this other setup with the other gangs. It just fizzled out, went nowhere.
I mean, either the scenes that pertain to the show that we know were like, oh, here's a little like, okay, like you're showing us something that they've talked about in the TV show. Now we're seeing it. Okay. Or it has like nothing to do whatsoever with the Sopranos, but worse, leads to pretty much nowhere in the film too, which is the real egregious thing here.
That was unforgivable. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just disposable, in my opinion. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, after we watched it, we really had a healthy discussion. That's classic. It's so great such a rare thing. We've done this most of our lives, but just been so long. Going to movies with the friends. I agree with Travis. I like going to movies by myself too, but there are certain events where you go with friends. Big openings,
like this,
something everybody's like this that everyone's looking forward to. And then you hash it out as soon as you're walking out of the theater. Like, oh my God. I remember when we saw Lincoln, we talked about a lot of it, Eric, that night afterwards.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, there was a lot to discuss. Hell, I think Laskowski, we saw, I think it was a Marvel movie of some type. Actually, it was one of like the shitty ones back in the day, like a Wolverine Origins. It was terrible, but it was a big deal back then. And then you hash it out. And we hashed it out on the couch, and, I watched it as soon as I got home. I actually I fired it up again that night because I was like, okay, did I miss something here? And besides it looking gorgeous, it's a beautiful looking film.
Gorgeous. Bob Shaw's production design is fucking outstanding.
Yeah.
It is. It's beautiful. That's fantastic. It's a great set period piece in that respect, but
I just like fan service, like winking at the audience nonstop, like these like SNL like impressions of your old favorite characters. Come on.
And there was this a pretty decent takedown in the LA Times on this, and one of the points made in that article was that the Sopranos TV show, one of the things that made it great is that it didn't engage in fan service. Like people had to come to terms with the blackout ending and shit, like the test dream episodes and the surreality of it. Like people the show like didn't give you what you wanted a lot of the times. It gave you what David Chase wanted to do, which he clearly did here. But there's also this fan servicey stuff that doesn't really need to happen or go anywhere. I did really like Corey Stoll as Uncle Junior. I thought that was good casting, and probably the big fan service moment was the best part of the movie when he makes the varsity joke. But I feel bad. I feel bad for like everybody involved and for everybody who waited, and like it's just.
Yeah, and another one I had after the fact was that John Bernthal was underused.
Yeah, they all were. Like everybody was almost.
Like I know he's not the main character, but he's very much a part of this. So really, you start having a debate about why was this movie set strictly on Moltisanti's character, and why was this woman who's an immigrant who comes over, he's trying to tell like an immigrant story, the story of the New York riots, black oppression, mobsters, their racist ways, but yet their family ties. You got like so many things going on in a 2-hour movie, and then you try to flash forward and do like 2 movies within a 2-hour prequel. It's like, what the fuck?
Too much smashed into too short a time.
It's like you said that night. You said if this doesn't have another series added to it or something, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, it's just dangling out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So lots of disappointment on that one.
Yeah, I think so. All right, Travis, back to you. You have control of the board.
Well, it's October, so I've been watching a lot of fucking horror movies. I accidentally did a Charles, what's his name? Chuck Russell that did
Eraser Mask.
He did The Blob in 1988. He did The Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors a year before that. I'd seen both of these films, but not since I was a kid. And I just like happened to watch them back to back. I didn't like, and it was like really intentional too. I'm like, I want to watch the Blob because I've watched the Blob from 58 or 59 not that long ago. So I'm like, I want to watch the remake, which is fucking awesome. Blob from 88 is so underrated. It's really, really good. It really is. And Nightmare on Elm Street 3, of course, is still a classic. I watched Daniel Isn't Real from 2019. Yeah. Heavy shades of Drop Dead Fred, but not in a bad way. It was actually a pretty unique horror picture with, speaking of Tim Robbins, who we're going to be delving into here, we got Miles Robbins, his son, along with Susan Sarandon, and then the son of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who both did really good jobs. And this is a pretty, I mean, like, it's hard to make, I think, unique original stories anymore. And I feel like this one, despite the Dead Fred kind of stuff, there really is something kind of unique happening here. It's a pretty original. I mean, there's some stuff that reminded me of, but I really liked Daniel Isn't Real. And this is the same studio. This is SpectraVision that's responsible for Mandy. So that's, take that pedigree as you will.
Who the fuck was Fred, by the way? Was that a name actor or was it just some random English guy?
Yeah, I'm blanking on
Yahoo
his name.
Serious?
No. He was from the Wild Ones. Yeah, he played Young Einstein, I believe. Oh no, that was Yahoo Serious.
Oh, Yahoo Serious.
No, but this guy, I'm blanking on Fred's name, but he was from that TV show, the British TV show. I want to say it's called The Wild Ones.
Okay.
I always mix those two movies up because we saw a double feature of those at the drive-in. I swear, or they came out like the same time, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the same movie, right?
I watched. Remember that short? That horror short from 2012 or so called Lights Out that was just terrifying, the most terrifying 4 minutes ever. Then they made the movie and everyone's like, it's crap, don't watch it. Well, I didn't listen. I finally got around to watching it. And I just can't imagine someone being like, oh, everyone loved this spooky, scary short that I made. Clearly what they want is for me to explain in excruciating detail every iota of this backstory and just over exposition it to death. I'm just what are you thinking, guy? Now this is the guy that went on to do Shazam, which I fucking love. So he's got talent, but man, Lights Out was bad.
One visual gag in a short does not make a feature film.
Yeah, it was real bad.
By the way, Rick Mile played Drop Dead Fred, and he died in 2014 at 56 years old.
Yeah, I knew he passed young. What? Say his name again?
Rick Mile, Mayall. Oh,
okay. Yeah, that's a tough last name. But he's very famous outside of America. So, and somewhat famous here.
Rest in power.
I really loved the South African horror movie sci-fi comedy thing called Fried Berry. I wrote a review for it on our Instagram. I really, if you like kind of campy, weird horror, Fried Berry it's unique. Berry. It's unique. I really liked Fried Berry quite a bit. I checked out a kind of not fantastic, but worth checking out horror movie from 2020 called The Retreat, not to be confused with the 2021 film called The Retreat, or the 2017 film called The Retreat. There's apparently quite a few movies called The Retreat, but I watched one from 2020 about a guy. It's like a Wendigo myth kind of story, and kind of confusing plot, but it stuck with me. If you're a horror aficionado that would watch anything, I'd throw that one under your belt. Speaking of horror aficionados, I went in totally blind to this film from 1976. It was actually released in 79, but called Savage Weekend, a slasher flick. You ever seen this, Eric? Or
even heard of it? No,
I had never heard of it either. But the fact that it was a slasher from 79 and it turned out to be filmed in 76, I was like, I'll give it a shot. It was really good. Classic slasher, dude in a mask, predating most slashers other than predating even Halloween. I mean, it's predating almost everything. I'd never fucking heard of it, and it's good. And on top of that, there is if you're interested in queer studies and LGBT stuff, there is for 76, there is a gay male character in this film, and he is awesome. He's hilarious. He is not remotely the butt of any jokes, which I find really interesting for 76. It was, and it's the lowest of low budget. It was shot for $30 grand or something really stupidly low. But if you're a fan of slashers and if you're a horror history nerd, Savage Weekend is definitely worth checking out.
Did you ever see The Town That Dreaded Sundown from 76?
It's on my list. I haven't caught it.
Yeah, it's a masked slasher film, so
Yeah.
that could be a good double feature. I'm definitely gonna check that out, Travis.
Yeah, I need to do I think I'll do the Town That Dreaded Sundown soon too. That'll be a good October watch.
Cool.
I did Lincoln. Speaking of, I watched
yeah.
that with my students, my seniors in one of my classes. I'm not sure how they liked it yet. I'm not sure. They definitely seemed to respond well to Tommy Lee Jones. They liked his character.
Yeah, they like his high pitched voice.
Oh, dare you!
Well, no, that's one of the things I loved about it was that they, Lincoln had a reedy voice, and they went for it. I really feel like, it's not a perfect movie by any means but as far as like a history nerd stuff goes, it really is pretty fucking awesome. It's awfully involved. It does a lot of the things that most history films would make composite characters out of it, but it's not afraid to lean into this huge cast. And man, there's a reason why Lincoln gets a lot of love. Last but not least, I'm going to make this my final recommendation. I'd recommend everything I watched really this week, other than Lights Out. I watched this film from 2017 called Veronica. It's a Spanish film. It's really sad because it's based on a true story about the death of a young girl in 93 in Madrid named Estefania Gutierrez Lazaro. So that's kind of rough to watch a film about an actual death of a teenage girl, but there's a lot of twists on the original story to make it, enough that you're not feeling like you're watching something exploitive. But more so than anything, this film is based on a real life police call, the first, as far as I know, police report, official police report that someone filed that's like, yes, there was supernatural activity here.
No
It is
way.
responsible for the death of this young girl. There was multiple cops in Madrid that signed off on this thing, 6 or 7 cops. It's a really interesting story. The movie itself was also pretty fucking good. I liked Veronica. It was not, I would recommend checking out the movie and checking out the actual deeper story of the Vallecas incident, I think they call it, the Vallecas mystery.
I saw this. I loved it. Yeah, I saw this a few.
Oh, you
years
watched
back.
it? Yeah,
I
it's
loved
really
it.
good.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it scared me. It was actually a pretty scary movie. So if you like horror, and it was on Netflix. It's a made for Netflix film. So there we can support Netflix there. All right, and then those are the movies I watched.
Thank God we can support Netflix.
What would they do without us? Pay their taxes or something?
By the way, you mentioned Halloween. Halloween Kills coming out in theaters here. You guys getting excited?
Oh, dude, it's coming out on Peacock TV. I'm going to download that app, watch it, and then forget to cancel my trial, and I'll be fucked again.
Exactly.
I've got Peacock. Yeah, they need to work on their movie selection. Apple Plus is worth having. I'll give Apple Plus heads up. Yeah.
Eric, what do you got for this week?
Unlike Travis, I can't recommend any of the movies that I watched, and I watched quite a few. Well, the one thing I can recommend is not a movie, but I started watching the old Fresh Prince series from season 1.
Yeah.
It's laugh out loud hilarious still. I never remembered it being so dreamlike. It doesn't take itself clearly it's a comedy, but it doesn't stick to sitcom structure. It fucks off and goes and does fun skits and stuff aside from your side stories.
Is it dreamlike like Jacob's Ladder?
There's a lot of dream sequences, but it's not one entire dream sequence. But
spoiler alert.
Man. Well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't. Then it wasn't. Then it was again, and then it wasn't again.
Speaking of dreams,
can't wait.
Speaking of dreams, I checked out 1999's In Dreams. From celebrated director Neil Jordan.
Woof.
Oh my God. How is this so bad? You got Annette Bening, Robert Downey Jr., and yes, Stephen Ray.
Kill your own kind.
There it is. It's abominable. It's abominable, man. It's so
just
horrible.
Slapping some red hair on Robert Downey Jr. and calling it a day.
I don't understand how this happened. And I'm sorry, man. I don't want to offend anybody here, but Annette Bening can't act, dude. She's one of the most boring actors I've ever seen in Hollywood.
Get on.
Come on.
Come on,
one
dude.
good performance.
American Beauty. She's fucking great in that.
Oh,
yes,
Jesus.
exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm
She's
not
probably the best part of that movie.
Okay.
I will sell this house today. I will sell this house. She's fucking.
I think she's a good actor.
I'm sorry. That dinner scene, she's fucking phenomenal. Get the fuck out of here.
So annoying.
She's not boring. You said boring.
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the actress.
You've offended both of us.
She's married to Warren Beatty, so that house must be like the driest like dinner table of all time.
That's kind of funny. I'll give you that.
Jokes.
You know what? I watched this movie called The Last Time from 2006.
Oh, I know that one. I know it's Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And, we got Neil McDonough, and like it's got this huge support. Daniel Stern. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm sitting there watching it in disbelief for its entire runtime. How is this a movie?
Oh man, dude! I dug through this during the Blockbuster when I had Blockbuster Online. I got my 3 DVDs at a time. This was in the rotation, and I got it once, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh man." Well, they're
trying to mix like copy machine salesman drama with like infidelity like plot. It's like
this is during the weird period of Michael Keaton's career in the aughts where he was just gone, and he tried to do these are very small time film, very indie movie and
post White Noise, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right after. Yeah.
Still, dude, Game 6 White Noise is fucking awesome.
I tried to find Game 6. I couldn't find it. I've been wanting to find it.
It's great. Oh man, Travis.
Hi.
I don't want you to be upset with me, but
I probably will be.
There's a lot of. It's so surprising how many John Carpenter films I've never gotten around to seeing. The man's filmography is insane.
Oh, yeah, he's fucking great.
So I sat down and I finally watched The Fog.
Oh,
it's fucking dumb, man. Like this movie is just not very good.
My
opinion.
Are you pissed, Travis?
I'm not pissed. I just think that's wrong. I think you're wrong.
I find it very dry. It is a
little dry.
Oh,
it is a little dry. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it's his most suspenseful film by any means, but I do like, in my opinion, well done, like attack on a small environment place kind of plot, which is he's a master at. That's really kind of his go-to style of doing things.
Yeah. Man, I don't know what else to tell you. The Guilty's fucking god awful on Netflix.
It's getting ripped up on the old review circuit.
That's too bad.
So, man, I'm really sorry. Oh yeah, the Last Time, Mike, written by the guy's only screen credits are The Family, the Robert De Niro mafia comedy.
Oh, I didn't hate that.
And several episodes of pop-up video from the late 90s.
I love pop-up video.
That's it. So I don't know how this guy got this cast.
Got to make money somehow. Oh, well. Producer, probably.
Oh.
So nothing really to suggest then, huh?
Fresh Prince.
All right, Fresh Prince.
Yeah, there you go. Fresh Prince, folks. Fresh Prince. Doing the Carlton.
I don't know how to do the Carlton.
Oh, you could do it pretty easily.
Isn't it the Running Man?
Yeah,
is this the same thing? Oh,
no,
Eric's
do it. Do
it. No, you do it better than I did.
I didn't really watch the show that much.
Big hands.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. So.
How about you,
no, I'm kidding. That's a joke. It's an inside reference. Come on, Eric.
It's not fun.
You've been on this show for like 80 episodes. You got to know all the inside references. Yeah, man. Boy, the Billy Crudup run continues. It's been I was blown away. I got all these movies. I'm like, okay, I got all these. I just went through his IMDb and I was like, I'm getting that. Whatever I could get, whatever I could find, and I got it. And I didn't know what I was getting into because some of these I had never heard of. So I watched a movie called Blood Ties with fucking Clive Owen, man. And I'm like, shit.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty good.
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
I was like, this is 2014. This is 7 years ago. This was kind of last call, Clive, because this is the same time as The Nick came out, I believe. And he was doing stuff for a minute there. And him and Billy Crudup with fucking old man James Caan as like the patriarch of this family. And man, this is an intense film.
It's a good drama. Really it's not like a mindless action criminal flick. There's like serious stakes.
Minimal action. There is a little bit, but it's absolutely more dialogue and family focused. And you got I always do this. No, Noah Emmerich, not Toby Emmerich. Noah Emmerich is one of the detectives that plays alongside Billy Crudup. Fine role. And Marion Cotillard's in this too. And she's fucking phenomenal.
Holy shit.
It's a really great movie. Apparently it was based on a French version, and this was the American remake. Right. So I strongly want to recommend Blood Ties.
Yeah, it was good. I'll
Billy
double
Crudup, very subdued in this movie. You know, he's some movies like in the morning show, Travis, he's the character he plays very lively. This one, it's strange. It's a very strange feeling. But I'm going to strongly recommend Blood Ties. Man, what a movie. Then I watched one called 1 Mile to You, which came out in 2017. and this is based upon a novel. It's got Tim Roth in it. It's got Billy Crudup. It's got Peter Coyote. and it's about these it's really kind of an inspirational film, and it's well done. It's not cheesy, and it's really going to recommend that too. 1 Mile to You. It's about, oddly enough, Billy Crudup played Prefontaine, and now he's like a track coach in this one. So I don't know if there's a connection there, but it's fascinating.
All right.
So I'll recommend that as well. What else did I watch? Something about so I did it. I watched Blind Spotting.
Oh, okay. What'd you think?
It's just so good.
It's so good.
It's just
so good.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Everything you guys
I knew
said.
You love it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, you're gonna watch it, and you're gonna be like, you're just gonna be the next guy who comes on the show and be like, "Yep, everything you guys said sounds good to me." I'm almost gonna guarantee that. And I don't like to do that very often.
I would guarantee it, Travis.
I'm not going to watch it now. It's a fucking spite, you guys.
Stubborn. Yeah, that's how we were raised. That's how we grew up. That's the way you should.
I'll wait 25 years and then I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's strange though, and I'm not going to spoil it. Trust me. But the thing about that is, it's so weird for me. The best scene in the movie is the one I think is the biggest mistake in the movie. So once we have all seen it, I'm excited to talk about that.
You know what part of that is? Is that later or
kind of in the middle?
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk off.
An artistic choice that I think was a fucking terrible mistake, but it's the best scene in the movie.
Oh man, I think
that's such a weird phrase, but if you knew what I was talking about, you would. I think you'd understand. It's the way that the scene is framed is I don't know. I'm going off the rails. Sorry.
Take it easy. Calm down.
Yeah.
Aaron Worley recommended this movie, so he was really excited that I watched it. I talked about it. Aaron, it's a phenomenal film. You were absolutely correct in recommending this. So well done. Two people in the same world, but they're not of the same world because they're part of the greater landscape of the culture. So you think you're in a world, but you don't really realize because of your blind spots. And I love this term, blind spotting. I'm like obsessed with it now ever since I saw the movie too. So we all have blind spots, and it's very much a real psychological term because we just can't see it. We cannot see it. It's fucking fascinating.
Can't find the guy.
Can't. I didn't drink Coors Light.
No one knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, but it's so funny still. I watched The Longest Week. This is Jason Bateman and Billy Crudup. They're like two rich assholes, and it's supposed to be very narrator heavy. It's supposed to be told like a book. Okay, so it's about this longest week for this guy is a super rich snob who Jason Bateman plays. Very different role for him, and it's all right. It's kind of bland, but I admit I watched the whole thing and it was somewhat interesting. It's got I always mix up Olivia Wilde and Emily Blunt. I don't know why I do that, but it's Olivia Wilde, not Emily Blunt, as the main connection of the love interest there. So it's kind of bland though. I wouldn't really recommend it. I never watched Kingpin. I saw Kingpin all the way through.
You've never seen Kingpin?
I remember all the hype, and I've seen the pictures and the scenes where Bill Murray's hair is flying in the air in the big finale, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing. So I
don't know how funny it would be if you're not 13 when you watch it.
It's less funny.
Yeah, I watched it a year or so ago, and it didn't really do it that much for me.
A mess. I
loved
it
when I
when
was a
the movie
kid.
sucks. I think it's a fucking huge mess. I think it's really dumb.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to be smart.
No, I mean, but it's very 90s. You know, it was huge in the 90s. The reason it was big, and you know, Randy Quaid is the Amish character. It's at the time that was like a little more like, oh, this is a little different. It actually was, but now that's like a cliche. I feel like in a way, like the doofus who rides along with the people. I don't know.
It was a different role for Woody at the time, which was cool.
Yeah,
because he hadn't really done anything remotely like that, and and it was a good role for Bill Murray at the time too, because he really had kind of dropped out of comedy. He was doing like family films and barely around then, so it was nice to at least to have that out of the 90s.
Yeah, he did Groundhogs in 93, and then this came out in 96. But the 90s weren't the best decade for him anyways, outside of Groundhog's Day.
And what about Bob, I guess?
Yeah, it's barely.
You guys don't like Larger Than Life? Man,
oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm talking about society, not me.
Oh, society.
Oh.
Speaking of Annette Bening, I watched a movie called 20th Century Women.
Is that good? I heard good things.
I liked it. It was it's slow and dry, but it's it's a solid film. It's well done. Billy Crudup's in it with the net bending. So dumb. Billy Crudup. I love Billy Crudup. And I'm so glad I'm finishing off his filmography.
You guys see Glass Chin?
I have that. That's coming up. I had a failed venture on that one. I actually tried to start it up and things didn't quite work out. So it's on the agenda. I watched a dumb 20th Century Women. I want to recommend it though. It's about it's a kind of a cool female empowerment story, but not told in like a cliche way. It's pretty fresh, I will say. Then I watched a movie called All Nighter with Emile Hirsch and J.K. Simmons. This is like a doofus running around town. This is from 2017. I totally missed this one. And, it's one of those like one night comedies where crazy shenanigans happens. And it was actually it was entertaining. It's J.K. Simmons and Emile Hirsch running around town, running into random stupid characters across Los Angeles. It's not well received on like IMDb or anything, but it's a stupid comedy and it's a perfect movie to just throw on and be like, I can watch J.K. Simmons do just about anything, and I like Emile Hirsch, so this is good enough for me.
Did you just like rent everything in the Red Box that like no one's ever heard of one night?
Well, I had a cross reference here. I was trying to catch up on all the Billy Crudups, and then I was trying to catch up on all of Emile Hirsch's stuff over the last 15 years. I watched early stuff, but I hadn't seen Emile Hirsch recently.
Speaking of credit, you've seen Rudderless, right? I'm sure we've talked that before.
Oh, you recommended that to me in 2016, and I am a huge fan of that.
It's the top of the mountain of the credit stuff, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Almost Famous is Hall of Fame. Everyone loves Almost Famous, but Rudderless is equally probably his.
Come on.
Yeah, it's probably his best.
Have you seen it, Eric?
Rudderless? Oh, loved it.
Yeah.
As far as Emile Hirsch, check out. Well, Mike, you're probably not going to watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe because it's a supernatural horror film, but it's fucking awesome.
Good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't know.
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, yeah.
I love Brian Cox. I mean,
just the two of them, really. It's just these two guys banging around in a room together. It's pretty awesome.
I want to watch season 3 of Succession. I actually watched the first 2 seasons, so I love Brian Cox. Okay,
cool.
Yeah. So there you go. That's some bozo movies. Oh, I forgot to mention I had watched this one and I never brought it up. Fucking Apt Pupil. I never saw it.
Okay.
And I watched Apt Pupil for the first time like 6 weeks ago. And,
6 weeks ago, just thought of it now.
Well, I forgot to bring it up, but I'd never seen it, and now watching it for the first time in 2021. Brad Renfro, rest in power, and Ian McKellen he's awesome, but it's a Bryan Singer film, so it has issues, and but it's actually still pretty. It kind of holds up well. It's something that doesn't really fade. Bryan Singer's not cool anymore, but the movie itself and Brad Renfro being dead, there's only so many movies that he did. I don't want to just dismiss his career entirely either. So I think it deserves its time.
It's also got fun performances from Elias Koteas and also David Schwimmer. Yeah, that was the big takeaway at the time. Everyone's like, David Schwimmer, like not being a total fucking buffoon. I mean, it's kind of
a weird ass ending. Yeah, you're right. Like a creepy, fucked up. Yeah, you're right. That's a good call.
And that was one of the ones that they definitely changed it from the book and for the better, which is pretty rare.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a Stephen King book, right?
Yeah. It's a Stephen King novella, but what happens at the end of that wouldn't really translate well onto film these days. I don't think. Better that it didn't. If you've read it, you know what I mean.
I have not. I'll take.
I'll just take my word for it. I don't feel like getting into it. But is it time? Is it about that time?
Well, I want to check the email real quick before we move in. But we love our emailers, don't we?
We do. We've also had a couple of reviews on Apple Podcasts. Shout out to our friend of the show, Vivian. Thank you for that. That was very kind. And another person also, I'm not sure.
Chris McBrien from the Pop Goes Your World pod, which is a great pod. If you like pop culture and you want to see a battle between Gen X and the millennials, check out Pop Goes Your World. Music, film, whatever, everything. So,
and if you don't know us, you are still welcome to leave a review for us. Thank you. If you don't know us personally, you don't have to have a personal connection.
Okay. Well, it looks like we got an email, but someone read it, but I didn't get to see this. So Chad, our old pal Chad, writes in and says, thanks very much. Oh, wait, no, that's your response. Sorry. What day is this? October. Oh, it's just a listener's choice submission. Never mind. Okay. Thanks, Chad.
From Beyond, we're going to throw that into the mix. Get our Stuart Gordon on, maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk more about our upcoming listener's choice episode after we unpack Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, it's time to get into it. Does it hold up? It's time for the 1990 film selected by Eric Branstrom, so everyone can blame him. Jacob's Ladder, an Adrian Lyne film starring Tim Robbins and Elizabeth Pena, and a host of people like Danny Aiello playing an angel / chiropractor. I don't know.
Like you do.
Real, yeah. Ving Rhames pops in this movie. Yeah, Eric LaSalle, a lot of like mid-level actors at the time getting some part roles here. So, yeah. Eric. You came up with this, dude. Why did you pick this film? Do you remember seeing it for the first time?
Yeah, and I remember staying up the entire night in sweaty fear. I must have been, 13 or 14. And I was fucking terrified. These images I was not used to. You know me, I'm a late bloomer. So I'm finally able to sit down and watch an R-rated movie. It's like, this is like one of the first ones. And I'm terrified beyond human comprehension. But it's been over 25 years since I saw it. As a kid, I didn't meld that well with like some of the more dramatic and psychological issues. I just wasn't picking up on them that much. So I was definitely excited to go back as a mature adult to see if some of those things hold up, that dynamic.
Yeah. Travis, what about you?
I remember seeing this when I was young. It wasn't when it was new. I wasn't as young as Eric. It was like I had heard about it. It had like something of a reputation. It's kind of a cult classic. But when I did see it, it was early enough that it was still on VHS. I was probably, 15 or 16 or something like that by the time I got around to watching it. So I was probably 96 or so, if I had to guess. And I enjoyed it and hadn't watched it again until last night. I was surprised at, it was funny. I remembered a lot of the plot points, like the major reveals, but I didn't really remember like anything else about it. Like I remember, like a lot of the visuals had left my mind, but I remember like what the story was about and the reveal most of the reveals at the end. But it was good to come back and give it another look with adult eyes.
Adult eyes.
Adult eyes.
Tonight, all new Adult Eyes.
Sounds risque.
Adult Eyes.
Red Shoe Diaries, followed by an all new Adult Eyes.
It's racy. It's very racy.
Yeah, I never saw this movie, so this is my first viewing. But growing up, you heard of this title a billion times, but I started to confuse it with Jason's Lyric and Jacob's Ladder. For some reason, they started to meld together. I never saw either movie, but that's all I got on this. I didn't know anything about it. I really had no layout for the premise. So let's dive into the rating. IMDb rating. I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess. Oh, you got it. Okay. Well, I'm going to say this. Oh, you saw it too? Well, then I'll take a guess. I'm going to say this is probably well respected. It's probably like it's like a dead 7, an even 7.
That's about what I was going to say. I was going to say like 6.8, 6.9. Yeah. But Eric?
I was also very surprised to see it at 7.5.
Jesus,
that's awfully high.
Yeah.
7.5 is upper echelon. Not quite legendary status, but it's higher than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that's why we do this.
And I mean higher than I would have thought, because I feel like this isn't like people talk about Ghost, the other 1990 Bruce Joel Rubin film that we've also already talked about in another episode. But people talk about a lot of movies, but I don't feel like this is a movie that people reference or really comes up, or even Adrian Lyne really comes up. Like this seems like I know it's got a cult following, or it had one back in the day, but I feel like it's kind of fallen into into the dark corners of cultural memory.
Yeah.
Well, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 73% from the critics. That's even lower than the 7.5. But the 84% from the audience. So you got 11% disparity. The audience likes it more than the critics do. I wonder why that would be. I'm not sure. Anybody?
I mean, critics may have been more critical.
Well, how about this? Peter Rayner of the LA Times said, in the best puzzle movies, the pieces fit eventually. But if you try to piece together Jacob's Ladder, all you get for your trouble is more pieces. Ooh.
Well, again, this is one of those things where he's saying that negatively. I love movies where they have the balls to give you more questions and answers if they're doing it in a way that's entertaining and stimulating.
Oh, okay. Well, that's your kind of movie. Then you're gonna love this movie in a sense, for sure. I'm not seeing any Goody Coots, and
a little early for Destin Thompson, I think.
Nope, you're wrong. Here we go.
All right,
1990.
Well, he reviewed it. Whenever he reviewed it, because Rotten Tomatoes started in like the early 2000s, so the earliest date on all of these, no matter what movie we do, is January 1st, 2000. But it could have been written at the time. Yeah. Like
he's in like junior high. Destin Hobson's like, he's like in the 8th grade giving magnificent film criticism.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can see that. Well, we got Destin said
he's like that kid in Hamlet too.
Oh yeah, good call. That's a great call.
Yeah.
Destin said that falls. Sorry guys. Falls ultimately flat on its surrealistic face. The victim of too many fake art sequences. I agree with that. I have a lot of strong feelings connected to that commentary.
I'll
sequences.
I have a note. One of the notes that I made was, how much of this did Mike fast forward?
And then when the head started spinning, he thought he still had it on fast forward, so he had to stop it.
I'll tell you this: I absolutely was already pissed when it comes out of it just being a supposed dream sequence at the time, the Nam shit. I'm like, oh shit, this is like a psychological
early
psychological Vietnam War thriller terror thing. And I was like into that. And then, oh nope, there he is. He wakes up in a fucking subway. And I started fast forwarding as soon as he moved from one car to the next, and then started walking around looking for the exit. I'm like, this is dumb, this is dumb, this is dumb. Michael. Get out of here. This isn't real now, because he fucked me. They fucked me. I thought it was real, and then it wasn't. So all right. I got to do this one more review.
Over one of the most tense scenes in a horror drama of the early 90s. Shame on you.
It's a skip though. It's not a fast forward. You're like, oh, you see it. You're seeing it. You're just not hearing anything. Okay, yeah. He goes up. Okay. Well, I woke up. Okay. Anyways, Roger Ebert. Man, Eric. Yeah, I listen to all my podcasts on 10 times speed. Roger Ebert said, "This movie was not a pleasant experience, but it was exhilarating in the sense that I was able to observe filmmakers working at the edge of their abilities and inspirations."
Hard to shove popcorn in your mouth when you're looking at hills of dismembered body parts.
Not easy at all. So okay. So Travis, you said you hadn't. Even Eric, you said you hadn't seen this in a while. So the Vietnam beginning is going to be not like the premise of the movie. It's part of it, but it's not like the reality. Like, to me, it was a total surprise. Like, oh fuck, we're not in Vietnam. He wakes up on a train.
Are you me? Did you wonder for like over half the movie when this like main story took place? I thought it was supposed to be in 1990. I didn't know it was like a couple years after Vietnam. So I'm like, yeah, these guys are still clearly in like their late 20s. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
it's in the 70s. The cars and everything. It
shows
illustrate
that.
It does not feel like it doesn't feel like the 70s. I think they do.
You didn't see it. You didn't look at him and think he looked like he was from the 70s when he wakes up.
He's a Vietnam vet. I mean, I'm thinking he's stuck in the past. Do you know how many guys I know? I mean, I knew guys as a kid. I knew guys in the 90s that walked around in their fucking army coats and shit. Still, like,
it's one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just figured.
But the way it looked, New York in the 70s was a shithole. You could make a lot of inferences. Made inferences. So.
But New York in the 80s was a shithole, and this film was shot in the 80s. So, like, it looked to me like late 80s New York.
Yeah.
I thought it was present day. I thought that was the whole point. Like, he's been suffering PTSD for like 15, 19 years.
I even made a note about it. Like, oh, this is clearly like right before Giuliani in New York. This is like the end of like the fucked up period.
No, 75.
Nope. And then I started to do the math where I'm like, wait, Macaulay died while he was at war, but like his kids are still kids. So like, and I still never quite came to the conclusion that it was set in the 70s. I'm like, well, apparently it doesn't matter anyways, right?
Right.
Like,
no,
it doesn't fucking even happen.
None
of it happens.
Uncredited Macaulay Culkin right before Home Alone came out that year. So
extremely distracting to see Macaulay Culkin in this role. It just takes it out of every scene.
Takes you right out.
I totally agree. It's like,
not his fault.
It's him.
Yeah, not his fault. Not Lynn's fault for casting him, but like such a not Macaulay Culkin kind of movie, right? When he was at that age, when he was in stuff like Uncle Buck and Home Alone, and it takes you right out.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, The Good Son was a few years later. So
yeah.
Anyways, all right. So this movie pissed me off a lot because of a lot of. It seems like they focused on a ton of that demon shit early on, but then it kind of faded. Like, like they didn't stick to it, so they lose me because if they're trying to set the tone, this guy's seeing this shit all the time, it's like they wanted you to notice that he saw it in the first part of the movie, but then we're just going to leave that behind, like the party with the James Brown music and the the Elizabeth Payne getting fucked by the devil's tail or whatever.
James Brown of all things. I mean,
and which I learned later, the album was called Hell, so that makes sense why he chose that.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time, and then like that kind of like stuff goes away, and now it's like. Although they do go down to this fucking psycho ass hospital, craze thing that he can suck in, that he's not stuck in it.
Right, he's clearly in hell in that scene.
Just so lost in this movie.
Which they want you to be like. You're supposed to be trying to find yourself in the film, like casting about, like, oh, he's woken up in his ex-wife's house, so that was all a dream. Oh no, wait, this part was all a dream because he's actually having a fever and he's got really great neighbors. Nope, none of those neighbors exist. So it's actually happening over here.
Yeah. And then there's like 25 minutes dedicated to a fucking great sequence, but the whole bathtub and him almost dying scene could be taken out and it would not matter at all in the entire movie. Love the sequence. Love the way it's shot, but it doesn't matter that he almost dies in a dream sequence where he's already dead.
I struggle to understand the meaning and the purpose of it, in particular, that whole sequence.
Yeah.
As a first-time viewer, that's really, really important, Travis, because you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this guy sick? And then when he wakes up in this, he's at home. Oh, he's finally at home. So all of that was a dream, like you said, and I'm going to tuck in the kids. We're going to be in my comfy house for like 20 minutes through this whole sequence. And no, we're out of the fever dream. So it's just a fever dream. So he's okay. All right, it's cool. So the devil and all the shit he saw, the dream he had, the fever, so he's either sick physically, he's sick mentally. This is all a dream. I'm fucking lost as a first-time viewer.
I while we're on this moment in the film, I do have to be a little nitpicky here because, like, you've got your character on the edge of death he's at 106-degree temperature. Maybe make him pale. Maybe make him sweat. Maybe make him not freshly shaven. So, like, 24 hours later when he wakes up, so he looks like he just got up from a fucking bat. Like, I'm just like, he doesn't look bad at all. And maybe that's part of the point because he's actually not sick. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm like, he looks fine. He looks great. Like,
thank you. It's like they shot this movie out of sequence for sure, and then it just kind of got chopped together later. Okay, well, we got all these parts, and we got those parts, and let's bring it all together. And the way it was edited and organized, and who came up with the final, because I know it was picked up by. So this is an important part of the movie, I think. That was picked up by Carol Coe and Mario Casar, right? Because it was dumped by the main studio, one of the big ones, and that meant that Adrian Lyne got final cut, full control. So this is what he wanted to do.
It's you're reading my fucking mind because of all the like really interesting, visually arresting scenes we have here. It's such a incoherent mess structurally. Like by the time they introduce the BZ, whatever plot that is about the drug, the ladder itself, it's way too late. You introduce like his support, the rest of his platoon way too late, and in my opinion, just keep them out of it. It's not even their ladder or anything,
or bring them in earlier and make them serve immediately because it's actually kind of cool. If it's the cool, idea,
but it reminds me of a movie like Final Destination, which I like the original, and all of them are dealing with it like from the first 10 minutes. You know what's going on, so it's like let's unravel this.
Or the Jason Alexander going to the lawyer. Like, that whole thing. You're like, oh, now he's in the movie. And, now he's not. Oh, but they all changed their minds. We have no idea why. Because they're secretly hiding behind Eric LaSalle in the room while he tells them to fuck off and never talk to him again.
So again, like, kind of a purposeless kind of thing that's like, what is the intention here? Like, other than killing time and, like, putting the audience, like, in a ooh mood. Like, Pruitt Taylor Vince does really fine work, but, like, what does it mean? Okay, so almost all the characters are named after biblical characters. Great, but like, what does it mean? Like, what do you like? I mean, like, it doesn't have to be spelled out to me if you're using imagery and metaphors and stuff. But like some of it, but there's so much heavy-handed shit. Like they show us Dante's Inferno, and then they show him going into hell, like through each concentric.
Danny Aiello, the angel, saves him out of hell. How dare you? Back off! I'm saving you. And then he even says early in the movie when he looks at him in the early chiropractic scene, "You look like an angel."
Unsubtle. Yeah, which I found it interesting that Danny Aiello was getting Ann billing in 1990. This was like fresh off of Do the Right Thing, and it was clearly like it was like. Now Moonstruck. Between he hadn't done that much between Moonstruck and do the right thing at the time. So like, I mean, he'd done other stuff, but not like those were the big, standouts.
So the original script was actually going to be called Dante's Inferno, and Jacob was going to be Dante, and it was just going to be a straight, obvious reimagining of, delving into the 7 circles of hell. To keep it so ambiguous with this weird ass subplot, and I don't like that they kind of confirmed that it was like a thing in Vietnam. Like, they don't keep that ambiguous, which I would have liked if you're going to have it at all.
Eric, because remember, he comes out of the fever thing and he survives it or whatever. Now he's deep into the demonology. He's reading Dante's Inferno. We see endless pictures.
Same pictures in every movie.
Yes, exactly. So that's when it no longer becomes a mystery at all. It's like, okay, well, this is blatant. So you're not being very subtle. You're trying to make Elizabeth. Let's talk about Elizabeth Kane's character too. So she's supposed to be like a demon, maybe. He doesn't know that, and the way it's presented, it's like, no, she's a savior for him, and he's psycho. She's doesn't get it.
Her name is Jezebel. She's a temptress.
That's true too. You're right. It's also presented again as a first-time viewer. Like, okay, yes, if you don't know all those things about what a Jezebel is and who Jezebel is and all that, she's trying to help this guy, and she's like, what's your deal? And I'm here to care for you. But she also throws away the pictures and does weird shit.
Screams at him when he gets sick and like all kinds of stuff. She's a terrible.
But she also helped him. Oh, she was helpful to the sickness part. She really did try to save his life there.
She kept him alive as he was actually dying.
Right, that was the weird part, because then that's where she changed to me after the that crazy shit, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm here to help you, and I saved your life, and I'm gonna give you time." But then she does then weird shit happens because he took the BZ or whatever, and her eyes turn blackish for a second. I hate that jump scare shit.
Let's also point out that like the title card at the end of the film saying that like the army experimented with BZ on soldiers, and then Lynn, I mean, a cursory glance at Wikipedia informs me that Lynn totally like said, actually, I read that came from a book that I read that doesn't actually say anything about that whatsoever.
Come on.
It's just like that's just like, why would you include it then? We already know about Agent Orange and MK Ultra. Like, it's not like you have to throw this other random shit in on top of like it didn't have like you there's nothing telling you that it happened, so why throw it in the movie as well?
You're gonna give us this bogus prologue card and not give us a New York 1975 title card that we all desperately craved.
Speaking of New York, any New York film shot in the 90s, I have to point out the Sopranos actors that show up in it. We got Brian Tarantino, Mustang Sal himself showing up, and then Suzanne Shepard, Mary DeAngelis, the mother of Carmela, showing up with like these weird horn things at one point in the film. That was pretty fun. She was the receptionist that won't let him in to see Dr. Carson or whatever.
That whole, so that's the first hint you get. He goes to see Dr. Carlson, and there's no Dr. Carlson blew up in a car, but then there's no Jacob Singer, record of Jacob Singer. So that's when that happens for the first time, and they really elaborate that lady, by the way, who always plays that same woman, the angry. Like you said, she's so good at that. Forget the Sopranos. I've seen her in other movies where she's just really good at playing that. Was she
Uncle Buck? That's Uncle Buck.
That is her. I
knew
it.
Thing up your fucking face. Yeah, that's
Uncle. Right. Yeah, the fucking wart. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, they go through elaborate. It's really slowly shot. Like, it's not cut much at all. And she's going through the files and back and forth. And she's annoyed. And you're like, wow, okay, this is an important scene. I feel like they're trying to telegraph it to me how important this is.
It's not at all.
No, but they're trying to. They're trying to tell you because he doesn't exist now. And it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't have a record of him, but he's very clearly he's very pissed in the fact and emphatic that he does exist. So what am I to make of this now?
I think that so much of this movie is just impressionistic. Like the scariest moment of the film is with the image you have behind you, where he's got the metal crown of thorns, and the doctor's about to operate on him in hell, and he's like, you are home. You're never going to leave here. You're already dead. Like that, or like the kind of faceless conductor guy waving to him from behind. There's these moments, but they're like unnerving. But they never serve any function, really, and they never really drive the plot forward. They're just like they stick in your head, and that's cool, and they creep you out, and that's cool too. I'm not necessarily totally against it. Not every horror moment needs to have like a major motivation behind it, but it's just like for all the meandering the film does elsewhere, it's like, couldn't you string some of this together a little more coherently.
Yeah. What I remembered on this recent viewing is how much I just wished this was all actually happening, so there'd be so I could root for him, because Tim Robbins is a hugely sympathetic character in my opinion. He does an incredible job.
Laughs at every joke. Laughs when there's no jokes going on. Just laughs through the whole movie.
Gene Siskel called him strung out David Letterman. I thought it was pretty on point. But I care about his journey, and I want to see him work it out. Maybe not his dumb legal case with the government, but at least end up at some point where he can understand what's going on. To have it just be like padding for this like existential prologue about heaven and hell, dumb.
I do like when he decides to like do the court case or like to pursue it. He's like very serious. He's like, we have to go to the army. Like it's a place.
Yeah. Somebody give me address.
It was funny.
That's really funny. I like that.
The army.
We're going to army. Here we go.
Let's go to army.
Yeah, man. Shit. I mean, I don't know. I've been really emphatic here. I need to calm down a bit. But this movie really bothered me because of the way I just want to have some of it make more sense to me. The fantastical, the mystical, the magical, the supernatural. It doesn't do that in this film. I don't know how you can make the case that it does. And it's supposed to be a guy's like final trip. This is what he's feeling as he's dying. So, because when we get to the end result, he's dying on the surgeon's table. And was the BZ thing a real too? Did he take that and that's why he died? Or did he just die in Vietnam either?
We never even know if the BZ thing is real. Yeah. Again, this movie is just a soul survivors before soul survivors. And soul survivors suck.
Oh, I mean, really? Okay.
I love and I know Lion was hugely inspired by like Godard and Fellini, and in Fellini's best films like 8.5, there's no like plot. It's just like a guy going through this bizarre journey to make some sense out of his life, and nothing makes sense. But it's super entertaining, and you know what it is right off the bat. This kind of masquerades as like a film with a narrative, a guy with PTSD trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, trying to look for answers. When at the end it just says, "Oh yeah, it's not that though." That's why I think we're getting so pissed off.
Oh, well, and it's not just the mystical and spooky stuff that doesn't make sense. Even the mundane stuff doesn't make sense. I'm sitting there watching the movie. I'm like, someone take the dog out. Someone feed that dog. and then there's like these mice in one shot. There's these pet mice. Like, why include a shot of pet mice in your fantasy death? Like, what? Like, I don't know. Man, I don't know. So I mean, I know we're doing the thing where we're starting to like get into a spiral. Where we just like start tearing up on the movie. Is there stuff that we like about this movie?
Sure, Maurice Jarre's fucking score is awesome. I love the score to the movie. It's so atmospheric and moody.
Yeah, I like that the film establishes before even Tool's sober video the shaky head completely like defines scary stuff in the 90s. Is that quickly shaking head? That was cool. It's the first time that was done.
Yep, that's it.
Definitely iconic.
Come on, Michael.
Elizabeth Pena was great in this movie. I love her.
There's no character resolution for her, though, Mike. They completely dropped the ball.
I'm just saying her performance. Yeah, that's true. Her performance though is outstanding. It's really well done, and I like her work. I always do. So I want to give her credit for that.
Very enigmatic character, but you're right. She performs. I
like the guy. I love that guy. I look his name up, but the guy who shows up as the chemist guy. I love that guy.
Matt Craven. I like that Matt Craven shows up twice to do like these really needless saves, like watch out, like he's like already like trying to get away from the car, and like when the other car blows up, like Matt Craven shows up and pulls him like 2 feet back further, like thanks bud.
Yeah, and you know here's another thing that stood out to me. I'm stretching here, but Esapate the Murkison as the hand reader, the psychic palm reader on the stair steps there, that was fun. I was like, oh hey, it's Esapate the Murkison. All right. Law and Order. Cool. Yeah,
you may not want to, especially after this lambasting for the past hour, but check out the deleted scenes on YouTube. They took out what would have been the creep of the entire movie. That is when, I know I blacked out for a second there. But they for some reason, they deleted it. Adrian Lyne says because there was just too much horror and I needed to get the story going. A scene where Matt Craven's character actually says he can treat what the visions that he's seeing about the nightmares, and he gives them this chemical solution. In what precedes is the most fucking terrifying scene I've seen in a hell of a long time, and then they cut it. It's on YouTube though. It's fucking insane, especially if you love Lovecraft.
Well, if they're already doing a bunch of needless stuff just to spook us out, they really should have left it in. If it's
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
there's definitely some Lovecraftian stuff like that slithering tentacle and the homeless person in the beginning. It would have been nice to have seen a little bit more of those kind of stuffs.
Full credit to them too. No post-production for all these effects, so I'm gonna give them credit for that. That's cool.
Sure.
You know?
Did you like? I'm sorry. Were you done? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Okay. Did you like how? So you were angry, so you may have skipped past it. But did you like that when the film basically starts and he wakes up on the subway? He looks up and it's like one sign says New York, then the next sign just says hell. It's like, I wonder what this movie's about.
I actually didn't fast forward that part. Yeah, I saw that part, and I just kind of was like, I was so new to the movie, and I was actually so shocked from what I just seen him waking up in the subway. It really blew me away. I was like, fuck.
So who stabbed him?
I don't know. Somebody in the Northern Vietnamese army. I don't know.
Yeah, was it Viet Cong or was it maybe, was it BZ?
Cambodian rebels? I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah. Someone
was it
Operation Rolling Thunder?
As Elizabeth Pena's character says, well, winos and bums, bag ladies, winos and bag ladies. Yeah, that's what they're just a bunch of, they're not demons. It's winos and bag ladies. Well, it is New York. It's 1990, but it's not 1990. It's 1974. Is it 1974? Is it 1975? Where are we? Is it hell? Are we watching a movie? Am I even here?
What's happening? Time to die.
Oh shit!
Wait, other good things. Come on, other good things. There's got to be something else. Come on, guys.
Oh, Jeffrey Kimball's gorgeously dreamy cinematography goes from like super pretty and again atmospheric and dreamy,
very hazy,
also very fucking terrifying too. Like his darks are fucking black. He does great work. Shot True Romance. He's an awesome DP.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. This is such a True Romance, like hazy.
Yeah.
The filters, whatever they're doing. Yeah, wow. I totally see that. That's weird.
Okay.
That is
weird. I found it interesting that like there's a moment in the film when we get told that Carlson got blown up a month ago, right before Thanksgiving. So you're like, oh, this is a Christmas film. And then you're watching the movie, you're like, Where's Christmas? And then Santa shows up to rob him and kick his ass.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only, like, why would you set the whole thing is set around Christmas for one throwaway line and like Santa Claus picking his pocket, which is one of the highlights of the movie. And when he says that Santa robbed him, that was another thing I really liked. The look on the orderly's face. They're like, well, Santa robbed you. But also like, he could have, why is it around Christmas?
What about this guy's back problems? Is there a metaphor going on here? He's got back problems throughout the whole movie. So
he's in actual pain at the time because he's really been stabbed.
Is that
he's stabbed in the stomach? So maybe you haven't give him like an ulcer, but I don't know.
Mike, that's so funny. Why? Why is this back pain subplot?
No, you're right. It's a little weird. Even his ex-wife has a back pain subplot. She have the same chiropractor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He's telling her all about what she's been saying about him. Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't find the meaning. I couldn't find the meaning of the back pain, guys. Spinal horror, yes.
Very vertebrae
tonight. Spinal stenosis terror.
There's also this throwaway line where he's like, "I sold my soul." And it's like, okay, when, where, why, what? Is that true? Did you? Like, is that what's happening here? Like, because that's like a big line that comes early in the film.
I know we're trying to prop up the movie here, but there could have been a really, really well done and timely, a timeless film that could have been done about PTSD and war. And I know that was, I know they did. I know that Platoon was made in 86, and maybe that was, we had Born on the 4th of July was the year before too, so that was kind of being covered a bit. Yeah. The fact that they even went to Vietnam in this movie at all means that they should have just gone for it anyways, because he's dealing with trauma from a lost son. He's in war. There's real shit here that you could really flesh out. You could still make it a psychological horror, but it could be done with a better care and an understanding, and it's a missed opportunity.
Definitely not shot in Southeast Asia, though. Like, you're looking at it, you're like, that doesn't look like Vietnam. I've never been there, but it ain't. I looked at Puerto Rico. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
How subtle
Well, how subtle is your Wi-Fi connection? Is the real question.
How subtle is it that in hell you work at the post office? Is that like deep and meaningful?
Oh yeah, this is right before the post office shootings too. Yeah, interesting.
Right around the time that like going postal became like a phrase that people thankfully retired. Sorry to have used it.
Sorry,
but you know, for the time it was in common usage in the early 90s. So maybe there is something there that he's in because like now we don't really look down on the post office the way that they did in the 90s, but in the 90s they looked at the way they do the DMV now.
Beezy.
I mean, this is your bread and butter, guys. To me, like this is like a horror film, and I think it is. Even if you guys are the experts, fine, whatever. Let's not debate over the semantics of that. And you already mentioned the movies that you thought was done better, but it was still worse, Travis.
No, I wouldn't say Soul Survivors. Soul Survivors is significantly worse than
it's significantly worse. Okay,
that's fucking terrible,
horrible.
What are some other relatives of this film that maybe were done better? Can you
Ghost?
think of one
Saint Rider?
Ghost is more direct and more. The plot is much more coherent. That's true.
Gives me a lot of appreciation for Jerry Zucker right here. I mean, that's
But I don't know, man. The whole like trapped in purgatory cliche is so played out now. I can't even really think of any.
I do wonder if the hospital stuff maybe helped influence some stuff later, Silent Hill and that kind of stuff. Like it definitely, so that's one of the things in the film that I think works a little bit against it is that there was a small enough group of people that were heavily influenced by this film and paid homage to it, and so now we become kind of inured to a lot of the images that are probably more disturbing in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, I don't know what else to say. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Is there anything we didn't cover here on your notes? Because I think we can call it, time of death.
Let's call it. Who's first?
You picked it.
Yeah, you picked it. You go.
I like Adrian Lyne, man. I love Flashdance. I'm not ashamed to admit it, man. And I find it very odd that the dude's last movie was Unfaithful in 2002. He's a totally capable filmmaker who does a lot of films about like fucked up complex relationships that I kind of miss because I liked his visual style. So I don't know what happened here, man. Like I give it credit because it comes out in 1990 where we're just like the whole 80s slasher, Freddy, Jason, all that stuff is just starting to go away. So here he comes, and along with Blatty with Exorcist 3 that same year, with kind of this new thing, which is like cerebral horror. And not a lot of studios were greenlighting that, and not a lot of people were making horror that kind of was a little bit on the smart side. So I'll give it credit. But I mean, we got just such a incoherent structure here. The visuals are fucking great, but there's no humor in it. Like it's so dour that it can't even be fun in like a fun horror type of way. It's just dour and emotionally exhausting. So I can't say it holds up, man, even though I can appreciate it visually.
What about the opening? They're talking about beating off his Black Root.
Bing.
Yeah, that's where the comedy died, though, like the opening. Oh, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we got soldiers fucking around, bullshitting, hanging out, waiting to kill people.
A lot. He's got IBS or something.
Yeah, that's funny. Ha ha ha. Nope, that's it. No
Vietnam jokes. It's like Hamburger Silent Hill. That's what I'll do. Hamburger Silent Hill.
That's good, buddy.
Wow. Well done, sir. Yeah, that's special. That should be the title.
Mike, why don't you go next? I think we know which way you're leaning.
Well, as a first-time viewer, this is a challenging film because you just want to have a sense of... I like to have a rough idea of why I'm watching movies, I guess. I guess that does matter to me. I like to know what's going on a little bit. Although I can watch a stupid movie and just blank out. But I still know what's going on because it's a stupid-ass movie and I'm blanking out. That's fine. But here, you got Tim Robbins. Outstanding. Well done. He's doing his thing. He laughed a bit too much, sure.
He's good.
But,
he's good, though.
Adrian Lynn's movies are... You look at his IMDb... career and it's sex fest, 9.5 weeks and Fatal Attraction and Unfaithful, like you said, and Lolita. This guy's totally... So they're supposed to be... I wonder if he tried to get... Because there's sexual tension in a weird way and in some interesting ways and some, maybe some honest ways that people don't want to talk about either, about the devil inside us is, I don't give a fuck about religion. So it bothers me when they try to paint it as like these urges or the devil's urges or, fuck all that shit. And he's trying to do some of that too. Not my kind of thing, not my kind of movie, even though I really tried. I really put myself into this film. I'm pretty upset about it in a sense because I thought there would be something useful here with the mental health aspect and the PTSD of soldiers and, the drugs and who knows, the government's capable of doing anything to their soldiers. I could believe any of this shit. I really could. And even if it wasn't true, if you would have made a fictionalized version of some account that was ethereal and crazy but true to a sense, but people didn't know how to deal with it at the time, which is still the case then too. We still don't have a handle on it, but even less so 30 years ago. A lot of missed opportunities. This movie does not hold up.
Whew. All right. While it's my moment here, I'd also like to point out that like when your face is covered in shaving cream and you're gonna like you're gonna get the phone, you're gonna like answer the phone, rub the phone all over your shaving cream face, and like hug your girlfriend, get your shaving cream face all over her. Like you're getting shaving cream everywhere in the whole fucking house, but where your mustache is gonna grow. What's that about? That's my. Why is there a horse head in the fucking fridge? There is again like a lot of great imagery here. There is. This is a horror movie, and it's a thoughtful one, and I respect this movie. I am glad it came out. I think that it influenced some really cool shit that came later. I think it is an important film for what it is and when it came out. But if you have this memory in your head of this good movie called Jacob's Ladder, maybe just keep it there in your head and not revisit it, because I would not say that this movie holds up. It does not.
Oh shit.
That's 3 for 3 against. I'm sorry.
Oh boy. Well, there it is. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Matt from the Is It
Matt
Safe
Craven?
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
No, not. I love Matt Craven.
Matt
I
Craven.
hope he's still alive, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Good.
I haven't talked to him
but
lately.
Matt, my co-host from the Is It Safe podcast, he loved our Wolf episode, and he said the one thing we didn't mention is that Wolf is about Jack Nicholson turning into himself. I don't really know, which is a different take, but he loves Wolf, huge fan of Wolf, and he liked our episode. So thanks, Matt.
Right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Matt.
That was a divisive episode. I hate to even bring it up right now. Everyone remain calm.
Speaking of PTSD.
Yeah,
we came to an agreement. We worked it out once. Eric,
We're good.
So next week I won't be here. I'm going to be in Arizona, so I'm going to sit this one out. And Eric and Travis are gonna. Is Luke coming on? What's happening?
Yeah. Luke is coming on. We did. We hadn't quite realized our full plan last week in our last episode, so there was some misspeaking, I guess, taking place there. So ignore some of the instruction we made last week, because this coming episode will be our listener's choice episode. You can still add to the list. You can message us if you're listening live. You have until Monday, the 11th of October. Some of the submissions that are some possible films we might watch, the choices that people have submitted include things like The Void from 2016, which would be very exciting to me. Vampire in Brooklyn from 1995, which I can't say I've ever caught. Beetlejuice, which would of course be a lot of fun.
I can't miss that.
I was surprised at how many movies I actually hadn't seen that are considered classics, and like I'd never seen Hellraiser from '87. I've never fucking seen it, and that's on the list.
Wow,
it'd be weird if that one gets picked. Funny Games from 2007. That movie always just the cover box scares me. I haven't watched that. They from 2000. Oh, I did see They. Very not memorable. Hoping that one doesn't get picked. There's some fun stuff though. Last Shift, Tusk, The Conjuring. So Creep Show, Wolf Creek. So if none of those sound like movies you want to hear us talk about, by all means submit a horror film to us, and before the 11th, and we'll choose it live. I guess on Facebook Live, I imagine is where we'll do it on Monday evening.
Sounds lovely. That's wonderful. You can email the show, cinema9pod@protonmail.com, or DM us, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, anywhere. Text people. It doesn't matter. You only get one submission though, so don't fuck around.
Yeah, just one. And Luke will be joining us. We haven't had him with us since the Place
the
Between
other
the
guys.
Pines Place Between the Pines episode. Last time he substituted.
He was on
for
that
Eric.
one?
Yep, that was you, me, and him.
God, I don't remember him from that one. That's weird.
He was there. He probably remembers it.
That was his choice?
That was my choice. And then Eric was busy. So
okay. All right. Well, there it is. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. We love you all. Thanks for listening in. Sorry if it didn't go the way you wanted it to. It's still a fascinating movie in certain respects. Doesn't mean that you don't have to watch it or enjoy it. Until next time, I'll see you in 2 weeks. You'll see these guys next week. Keep it real.
Adios.